Alright, let's get started. This video, oh, forget who this video's for now. Rick, I think. I don't know. This screen here, let me get my fancy measurer, is my favorite screen for the Euros. The Euros, big worms, and they have big cocoons. So when you want to sift out your debris from your cocoons, then them bigger worms have huge cocoons, especially if you guys are really feeding that chow to them. So I'm just gonna, that's really crazy that, put this circle here. It's saying that it's 4.67 millimeters hole. So this is a round hole, and it will allow the cocoons that are 4.67 millimeters large to get through there. That is usually the size of, well, my cocoons have been that large before. I was writing down my sizes on a piece of paper somewhere, but everything just keeps changing here. We're advancing though, so it's a good thing. They have like a little tip on each of them, on each side of them, that's like where a package gets wrapped or something. I don't know. That's the widest point. So normally I don't think it's going to fall that way. I think it'll probably fall the other way, which means they're very much smaller than this hole. But that is just what is ideal for getting as much debris particles that are larger than those cocoons off with overs, and then allows your cocoons to get through. I did not like for Euros now, or Africans. My Africans are a little bit smaller, so they, cocoons, I feel like you probably would be okay with the 1/8" screen, but I didn't really study it hard on the Africans because those are just still growing. So this screen, the round, is what I believe is the best for your Euro. If you're just raising the Euros, the screen to use to separate your cocoons from your overs. That would be your worms. All right, that's going to allow your cocoons and your castings to go through. But then you are still going to want to see this is not my favorite for Euro. Let's see what the size is on this. I'm going to measure it a couple different directions. So this is a 5.84 millimeter. I believe they call that, me and measurements do not get along, but I believe that's the 1/4" screen. Okay, so if I measured on the diagonal, it's 7.71 millimeters. Okay. This is just for overs, but I feel like it allows way more to get in with the cocoons and castings than what that round sift lets you get. I should probably make one of those with the rounds, but I don't have enough of that, so I'm kind of stuck with what right now, why I don't have rounds in that top. Because I don't have enough of that flat round. I don't even know where I got it. We just had it here. So, that's why I went with the 1/4" wire mesh for the sifter that we built here. Now, this is another bad one. This screen, I feel, would be amazing for sifting the castings from those Euro cocoons. But we also already had this. A roll of this. Okay, that's 2.70 millimeters. That way. And then the other direction is a 2.45 millimeters. So super strong wire and really like it. Now, the wire that you get that they're calling the 1/8 inch screen, it is good too, but just not as thick as this, but I believe this and it are pretty much identical on the size. So if that's the only thing you can get a hold of, that's what I would use to sift your Euro cocoons from your Euro castings. That's if you're raising only Euros, you know. That's going to be the perfect situation for them. As far as the mixed cocoons castings, now you're getting into all different sizes of castings and cocoons and yada yada yadas. So this, what comes out of this right here, is going to be your Euro cocoons mostly, and some of your debris. So it would make a perfect nursery bedding with mainly just your Euro cocoons. Some of your larger red wigglers will lay a cocoon large enough, and your Africans would lay a cocoon large enough that it would not fit through here. So you may have still mixed cocoons. And with your Euro, these are the larger cocoons. So I feel like, as far as if you're doing the state fair thing in the breeding program, these are going to be your larger cocoons, possibly due to some sort of genetic trait that creates a larger worm. I haven't done the research on that, but I hear it is out there. It is a thing. So if you want to start breeding for larger and larger worms, then this would be the tray and the screen that you would use first, to allow your castings to go through, and your cocoons would remain in here. And then you get down to your 1/12 inch screen. I will have a link on where we got that. It was from Amazon. It is a big 2 by 4 foot sheet. It's a very thick wire. It's also enameled, which I think I love. It's not going to rust as fast, and the thickness of it is much better than what you can find at anywhere we looked locally. So the actual measurement on the opening there is saying it is 1.61 millimeter. And let me go this way if you want to know that. Whoa, it popped out of there. I mean, it's not much of a space. So it is saying it's a 1.69 millimeters opening. So this here is not going to let your Euro castings go through. So your Euro castings will be mixed in with your cocoons from your red wigglers and your Indian blues. And that'll just end up being your nursery bedding. I don't know a way to sift the two. So those are definitely going to be, if you do get some Euros cocoons to get through the 1/8 screen, they're just going to be smaller. I don't know if that's genetically a smaller worm, or if it's just a younger worm that would lay the smaller cocoon. So you might possibly have the mixed cocoons in here. Well, you're going to have the African and whatever, but I mean the Indian. And so that's where I'm thinking on these. Okay, if you're running a breeding program where you want to keep stepping up these larger and larger worms, then use the screen. Only save the cocoons from that larger, that will not go through the 1/8 inch screen. Which I'm saying, I don't even remember now what the millimeter was. That I told you, reverse the video, watch it again, I guess. Write that down. Those are going to be your breeder selection program. Because anything smaller than that must be inferior. I don't know. It could. I'm not saying it is. I'm saying if you're thinking of that larger genetic worm, obviously it's going to lay a larger cocoon. So let's say it's not going to go through that screen, and you're retaining back your cocoons that may possibly have that genetic disposition for being a larger worm. Okay? That's all I tell you can do. I don't know what else to tell you than the ones that fall through here. I'm talking only about your Euros and say your Africans, and maybe red wigglers can get cocoons that big. I don't know. If you do, that'd be awesome. But your red wigglers, I think their cocoons are going to fall through that 1/8 screen. And you're going to get into here. So it may be difficult for you to use that as a breeding program plan for red wigglers because they aren't as big of a worm. But if you fatten them up, I don't know. I haven't done the fattening up thing, and I haven't tried to fatten up my African night crawlers either. But I'll tell you what, those, when my, was Buckeye Organics, I think it was called, that I got those Euro night crawlers from, they were humongous. Oh my goodness, if those African night crawlers could get that big, that would be hysterical. Anyway, both of them are extremely long worms. So I'm going to try fattening up some worms to see what happens with the cocoons and if they do get bigger, and will they be easier to sift. If I can get them to sift and stay in the 1/12 inch, then I'm really going to start pulling apart those castings and cocoons much easier. So years in the making, we can start breeding these worms that actually we can select for easier sifting, separating cocoons and castings. And hopefully none of them would even make it to the screen at that point. Now we have only castings in here. So this is the 1/12 inch, told you all about it. It's going to retain pretty much, I think, all cocoons. I have not really found any that make it through that screen. Now, if you happen to have some that's doing that, there is, holy moly, this is the ultra fine screen I started with because I could not find the 1/12 inch. Let's measure this one. This is just a window screen. You can get this at like Menards, and gosh, I don't even, oh, you know what? It is not like, it's not welded together, so I cannot, without, okay, it's like 2.3 millimeters there. What has happened is these little things will move on you. The wires will move on you. So you have to be very careful with handling this screen. And this way, let me see if I can measure it this way. I can, because I can kind of see. Okay. 1.6. All right. This is ultra fine. This is like for your top shelf castings. I'm hearing that people really like those ultra fines. So if you want to do it, go ahead. I'm going to tell you the worms that you're going to want to create those, I believe, is the Indian Blues. If you're wanting to create an ultra Cadillac top shelf casting, and that's only because it's so ultra fine, I'm going to say it packs together more. You're going to run into issues with aeration, not being able to penetrate, so there's that. But anyway, do what you want to do. This sifts the ultra fine. I think you're going to need the smaller worms. And so maybe what you can do to manipulate those worms into having the smaller castings is to shrink them. Maybe let them get to population levels that are so large that you're cranking through a ton of material, and you're going to end up with the ultrafine castings that will sift through this. And if you've got that top shelf clientele that wants that for their house plants or whatever, I'm finding these people may even just be buying them to do their meditative morning routine of churning the castings to keep them alive and aerated. It is very tranquilizing. I have to sift these casting, or not sift them, but I have to aerate the castings. So every morning I start the morning by just going through and working through the castings and turning them one side to the other and just keeping them healthy. So, and alive and vibrant. What I'm doing though is I'm drying them down, because when I apply them, I don't want them to get stuck and mat together. So I'm putting the microbes dormant stage, and then I'm going to get fertilizer buggy and just load that baby up and we'll sprinkle it out. I'm going to try it again with the dry castings, maybe today, with just the yard spreader that sprinkles around this way. I think it's going to be better, because the first time my castings were pretty wet, moist, and they packed and got clogged. So they're dry now. I'll show them to you. They're right over here. I'm going to weigh them. That'll be my next video. I am making sure I never make videos over 30 minutes for right now, because they shut me down. They won't let me upload videos that are 30 minutes long. So, here is one bucket. Don't worry, I got a lot more. Okay, so if you see here like this, all right. Now watch when I squeeze. So I'm squeezing them very hard, and then they just fall apart. I don't think you're gonna get those to pack in the fertilizer buggy, but I could be wrong. I'm gonna take them out probably today with the wagon, the yard spreader, and see how it goes. And I'll get back to you and let you know. So now I will be off to make the next video, which will be my castaway video. That's what I'm doing with these for right now. I need to just kind of stockpile them because I'm telling you, the tons and tons and tons that I'm going to need, I will have to be saving back every bit that I can. Probably this fall will be applied. I don't know. I can try putting out a little each time with my little yard spreader. Go down a row of corn. Wouldn't that be funny? I'll do it. Or I'm going to offer some in the cabin. People with houseplants, gardens, if they want to make teas, their own teas, things like that. Okay, they need to get the biology out there. They can do it. Stay tuned. Go locate the scale. We're going to measure this bucket, how many castings are in there. I noticed one thing. When you're offering those, you have a dry weight and then you have a live weight. So the dry weight is actually less than the live weight. They do have quite a bit of shrinkage to them. So if you fill a bag and it's 5 pounds and then it dries down, and it's going to be quite a bit less. So I wouldn't put the weight on it unless you knew it was live weight and are completely dry weight, because it changes. That I found. So there you go. All right. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Give me some more ideas of in-depth investigations that I can do and research, or if you have questions on other areas that you're trying to figure out, I might be able to help you. I don't know. You need to have a lot of diversity in your past to be able to put all of the snaps, the connections together. I appreciate y'all for being here. Make sure that you make yourself a permanent fixture here at the Carve and Flip. And stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll hope to see you in the future.